So in the process of doing my research as usual, I came across this article that talks about investing in either a Sacco or starting a business. And this is something I've thought of doing. I have done advantages of Saccos, the best Saccos in Kenya. I've done why you should invest in Saccos. I've done why you should start a business and stuff like that, right? But actually, we haven't compared investing in a Sacco versus starting a new business. So this is something very important, and because I talk to people a lot about this every single day, it would be important to have a video about it. And that article just motivated me to have a topic on, should you put your money in a Sacco or should you actually put your money in a business? Now, these are very important points because Kenyans generally always want to either invest in Saccos, which they're very familiar with, or because of our aggressive and entrepreneurial spirit, we sometimes want to invest in a business. At the end of the day, what you're looking for is the best returns you can get. So, and that's the motivating factor. You want to make sure that you're getting the best returns out of whatever it is you're going to be doing. So, should you be investing your money in a Sacco or should you start a new business? Remember, here at MoneyMatters, we talk about the money mindset, how to enjoy that money, how to manage that money, how to invest that money, and how to assure yourself of a lifetime of income, basically financial freedom. So the question is, should you actually put that money in a Sacco or should you invest in a business? So we're going to look at the advantages of putting the money in a Sacco, and then the disadvantages of putting the money in a Sacco, and then the advantages of putting the money in a business, and disadvantages of putting it in a business. I'm going to mix them up, so pay attention and stay to the end. Remember to subscribe, share, guys. I'm one person who believes that you can make money either way. Okay, someone may choose to invest in Saccos and they still come out, on top. They still come out with a lot of money in returns from the Sacco. Someone can choose to go into a business and they will make money from the business. So there's no right or wrong answer. There's no right or wrong path. But there's a right or wrong path for you as an individual based on your circumstances. So you need to be aware of your circumstances as a person and look at it in terms of like what would be the best solution for you. So before you make a decision, it's not just about choosing these two different points. It's also about, what do I prefer? Who am I? What is my, let's say, personality? What have I always wanted? What am I good at? And stuff like that. So for instance, some people are just not good in business and they know it. They're not patient probably. I wouldn't say that they don't have the personality, but they don't have the temperament to actually run a business, because it requires certain qualities for you to run a business successfully and make consistent returns out of it. Remember, the main thing here is consistent returns out of the business. That's a very important part. You can make profits today, so you have 1 million Kenya shillings. You can make profits the first 1 year or 2 years, 3 years, then it dwindles, right? And you end up losing all the money. That happens all the time. Or you might not make money the first 2, 3, 4 years, or let's say 2 years, but you make lots of money later. It depends on how you're running the business model, the strategy you're using, and what kind of business you're doing, and the type of person that you are. So number one is, ask yourself, what type of person are you, and be genuine with yourself. If there's one person you should not lie to, it is yourself. Tell yourself what you think is best option for you and the best choice, and something that has the higher chances of giving you really good returns. So after doing that self-analysis and knowing what kind of person you are, you want to go to the next level. You want to look at, okay, let's compare Saccos and businesses, right? So naturally, Saccos have been these investment options available for everyone, and that's why they are quite popular in Kenya. Most people are familiar with Saccos and how they operate, how you get your money. It's straightforward. There's no complexity around Saccos, and that makes it an easy investment for most people. You don't have to do any work besides you getting the income of the money that you have and putting it into a Sacco. It makes that work more efficient. So that's what advantage, right? You basically put your money in there. You don't have to do much, and the money is earning its returns. The kind of returns you're expecting from a Sacco, we would say, is from 10%, 15% now that the interest rates are really good, but sometimes it goes up to 7%, 8%, 9%, depending. The good thing about Saccos is you can get that guaranteed returns over time. If they're paying dividends at 15%, you're sure of getting your 15% annually. If you wanted to save money for a particular goal, then this would be the best path to go, because you're sure that you're going to have your money. You're going to have your principal amount, and you're going to also have the interest that you have earned from the Sacco. It makes it extremely simple, straightforward, and efficient for most people. That's one advantage of the Sacco. The other advantage you'd say is you can easily access loans. Though I tell most people not to go into a Sacco investment with this kind of mentality, because you end up taking loans without actually knowing what you want to do, but you can easily access loans, and that's a good thing. If you're someone who's good in business, for instance, this can be an avenue for you to take just enough loans while you're still investing as well, right? So you take loans, start a business, or you can take a loan, do something else there. Or you have an emergency, someone is sick, you want to pay school fee, you want to do something, you can easily access a loan. And with Saccos, it's easy to actually get the loan because the process is not as complicated as with banks and other institutions. So Saccos make that process quite easy, quite straightforward, and you know how much you can actually access and what period, the kind of interest you're gonna pay, and they're never really, I would say, exorbitant in terms of their interest rates compared to banks. So the Saccos interest rates will be favorable to you as a member, obviously. The other thing is that they will be more stable, so you won't get this whole dependency on the central bank standard, interest rate standard that the banks use. So the Sacco will have a more stable interest rate. So if you borrow money, you are likely to just pay back based on the calculation that you've done initially. So it makes it a bit more easier to get loans from a Sacco. So in that sense, it becomes a very good channel for accessing credit, right? So Saccos have many advantages. And of course, they are available to people in terms of, there are many within the country. You find them even in your area of operation. So if you are in Safaricom, for example, if you are in Steamer, whatever, you will always find a Sacco somewhere. And most of them are aligned to what you're doing or to the same kind of people you work with or the same sector or whatever. It aligns to your values and your needs. So I like Saccos for that reason. So Saccos comes with loads of advantages of why you should invest with them. And I don't want to say that Saccos are just bad. The only thing I always say is don't approach Saccos with the idea of taking a loan, because in that sense you end up focusing on the credit facility of the Sacco and not the possibility of making some decent returns from the Sacco based on the interest rates that they do give their members. So focus on the investing side, and if you need to take a loan, then you can always access the loan. So in terms of safety as well, Saccos are safer, right? So obviously you put your principal amount. If the Sacco doesn't go down as a whole, you're gonna get your money back. There's some kind of guarantee and security in the amount of money or in the principal amount you put in there, and even in terms of guarantee of what you're going to get back, like I just mentioned. So these are some of the advantages that the Sacco comes with. Now, if you go to a business, this is a different playing field. Number one, like I said, you have to do what we call self-analysis. Number two, is this something you've thought about before? Is it an idea you've always harbored? Is it something you're sure about? Is it something that you're just doing because your friends are doing, or someone you know is doing it, or someone just told you an idea today and tomorrow you're going to take a loan, or you want to take your 1 million shillings and put into this business? And I think this is where most people go wrong. The idea of entrepreneurship has been overhyped by most people, and sometimes we get into it without actually thinking through it properly. And a lot of young people, because of sometimes even laziness to get into a proper job and get some money, or sometimes fear of getting into that profession or job or whatever, they want to get into business. So they're getting into the business for the wrong reasons. But if you know you can run a business, you will know that you can run a business. So what you can do is simple. Start the business, but do not put all your money in it. That's the best advice I could say, right? But one thing you must understand is that businesses fail. Only 5% of new businesses survive past their first year. And that's a very huge statistic for you. So it means 95% of businesses that are started in any year do not pass the 1 year mark. And that means that you have higher chances of failing in business than actually succeeding, especially in an environment that doesn't support entrepreneurship as much. Kenya, of course, doesn't support as much. So in that sense, you want to be aware of these kind of risks. The other thing about business is if you do not have clear financial boundaries, it's easy for people to interfere with your business. Relatives, friends, acquaintances, whatever. If people can easily take advantage of you financially, if you do not have clear financial boundaries, if you do not have very good financial management system, if you do not have very strict ways of managing a business, then it can be easily interfered with by relatives. I've spoken to so many people who started very good businesses, but because they could just take money out and give to relatives, or give things on credit, or offer their services for free to some people, they end up not doing as well as they would have done without these people around them. So there's that chance that people could actually mess up with you. But you see, if you had money you put in a Sacco, you get your returns every year or whatever, and no one is interfering with your business. You're busy doing your own stuff. The other thing with a business is it depends on the economic environment. So with a Sacco, you have your interest rate locked, so you know very well that, okay, I'm going to get this much. But with a business, you don't know. 1 year you get 20% return, 100% return, and sometimes you get zero or negative. So with the business, it fluctuates and depends on so many other factors. So you have to be able to weather these factors, understand them, and still be consistent even with all these factors. So there's no guarantee in business. There's no security. There's no surety that you're going to make your money back. The other thing with business is most people, when they get money, let's say you have 1 million Kenyan shillings, they think the best option is starting a business because that thing has been exalted or spoken about, or people have worshipped the idea of business. The problem is most of them probably have never thought about a business in their lives. They have no proper idea of how to run a business. They have no strategy. They have never even had, a dream of being a business owner, but they have been told this will be their best bet. And that's why, again, I say you have to know yourself. So most people are not going into it because this is something they are passionate about. They have dreams of how to scale it. They have dreams of how they will make it work, how to manage a proper business. They're going into it because they've been told, oh, now you have money, start a business. And it's the wrong mentality to get into it, right? So it depends on what kind of mentality you have when you're getting into that business. So not everyone is predisposed to be an entrepreneur. Let me repeat, not everyone is predisposed to be an entrepreneur. You need to know yourself and you need to understand yourself and know if you can do it. Business does not require laziness, does not require excuses, does not require any kind of mess, because you know what? The only way you're going to be answerable to a business is through losses. When you're at work and you mess up or you don't do things right, you're answerable to your supervisor or your boss or whatever, or your employer. With a business, you're answerable based on the losses you're going to be making. So the business is yours, you're free, you plan your time, you have the freedom that everyone wants, but then what happens? You are not fully in control like you think you're in control, because the moment you make any mistake, this will only reflect on the kind of returns you're going to get. So a business requires that proper self-discipline, hard work, commitment, and dedication to that process. If you do not have it, and if you can't be a consistent person, you're gonna fail. And that's what makes business so difficult, besides other factors, which could be economic, environmental, whatever. Besides other factors, that makes business extremely difficult. Now, we've looked at some of these disadvantages, but the one killer is that if you go into a business with dedication, like I said, and you make it in business, the kind of returns you're expecting from the business could be much bigger. So that's the trade-off. There's always a trade-off, right? So you have all these risks that you're dealing with the business, but the thing is, if you succeed, let's say you're among the 5%, if you succeed and retain that business, chances are you can scale it higher. It can be way higher than you think. You can even go global if you want to. You can make unlimited amount of returns as you scale it, of course. You can be fully in control and flexible and free, like you want to be free. You create opportunities for other people. So there's just so many advantages that comes with starting a business, but there are also so many risks that you have to deal with. Like we say, anything good, you have to go under pressure. You have to deal with a lot of obstacles for you to get there. So it depends on what you want. Now, time efficiency as well. If you're someone who is busy working, you don't have enough time, what do you want to choose? You want to choose a Sacco over a business because you don't have a time to do the business. So these are all the analysis that you have to do before you decide what you want to do. Now, having said all these things, where should you put 1 million Kenya shillings? Simple. If it were me, I would put part of the money in a Sacco. Be assured of getting my 15% from it. So let's say you have like even 1 million, you can be getting 100,000 annual return, guaranteed money, right? I'm sure about that. Okay. Then I could either take part of that money, so I would not put the whole 1 million. I could put, let's say, 700, 800,000 into the Sacco, get less than 100,000, maybe just somewhere around 70, 80,000, right, as return. Then I would use the rest to start a business. Now, if my business gets to a point whereby it requires more input or more capital, I can always borrow from the Sacco and put into the business. The other way is put the whole 1 million into a Sacco, be able to access some loans, and then put that money into business. As you watch your business grow, as you monetize, as you see how the environment is, as you also look at how you can run a business and how you can do within that particular environment. So you want to be in a position to access both services. If you are sure about your idea and your idea requires 1 million, go ahead and do it, but the risks are very obvious to you and you know what you're going for. So I hope that's very helpful. So what you do is simple. Make a decision based on self-analysis. And that's the most important part. Make a decision based on self-analysis and don't be emotional about it. Don't be waking up one morning and you're like, oh, I want to start this kind of business. Tomorrow you wake up, you don't feel like it, you drop it. So you put money into it and then you drop it. And then what happens? Within no time, you don't have the 1 million anymore. I would rather, even if you're still thinking of an idea, put that money in a Sacco somewhere or in a treasury bill, let it earn you some money. And we're not talking about Saccos, we're just talking about Saccos here, sorry. Put that money in a Sacco, let it earn you some money while you think about your ideas, you brainstorm on what's the best way forward. I hope this is helpful, guys. Let me know if you think it's helpful to you. And remember, you can always utilize both options. Nobody ties you to a particular option. But if you don't want all the stress, put your money in a Sacco, forget about it, put more money, get your returns. Still, you will make money. Till next time, I'm out.